Speaker, the Right Honourable Member for Putney hit the nail on the head when she said in her speech that at a time of a constitutional and political crisis in this country, every minute we spend on politics as usual and business as usual is a disaster for this country. And as far as the issue of Brexit is concerned, the opposition has been completely absent from the field. In fact, it seems to me that the leader of the opposition has been gambling on chaos, so that will present him with the perfect opportunity to get into government and focus on his single-minded approach to introduce a Marxist utopia for this country. So on the issue of Brexit, Labour is not a government in waiting, it is an opposition in hiding. I believe, Mr. Speaker, that there are certain things that no Prime Minister of this country should ever do. No Prime Minister of this country, irrespective of the political party they represent, they should not do. One of those, of course, is do anything to interfere with the territorial integrity of this country. No Prime Minister has the right to do so. But, Mr. Speaker, the other thing is that no Prime Minister should side with our enemies and should be an enemy of our institutions. Now, if we are wondering what the leader of the opposition would be like as Prime Minister, and it is important because if you vote no confidence in the government, you are suggesting that he should be the Prime Minister of this country. You only need to look at what happens to members on the opposite side who have a dissenting voice. Members on the opposite side who have a dissenting voice are threatened by a mob, and the leader of the opposition pretends it's got nothing to do with him. Now, on this side of the House, there are many of us who disagree with the Prime Minister. In fact, I am one of those, and we say so on the TV studios every now and again. But at least we say so in the confidence that we will never need police protection, disagreeing with our Prime Minister on our principles. That is what has happened on the other side of the House. But it's not just members on the other side who feel threatened by the mob. Journalists have needed protection at the Labour Party conference. It is one of their own MPs who called their party institutionally racist. 40% of British Jews will consider leaving this country. And why? Because the leader of the opposition has spent a lifetime hanging around with the likes of Hamas and Hezbollah. I need to carry on. So, Mr. Speaker, that is one thing no Prime Minister should do, be an enemy of our democracy, but also our institutions. I was surprised when the Shadow Justice Secretary said we need to make sure that our judiciary represents society. Now, what could go wrong when politicians start trying to make our independent judiciary representative of our society? And, Mr. Speaker, the next thing is security. During the 2017 general election, when I spoke to people on the doorstep and mentioned things like the IRA, there were some people who said to me, that was 30 years ago, or I don't know the difference between the IRA and the IMF. But most recently, we had a test case. Russian agents murdered an innocent British person on British soil. In response to this, 147 Russian intelligence officers were expelled. Moldova, Estonia, Hungary, very small countries, also expelled Russian agents in their country in support of us. To this day, we do not know whether the leader of the opposition supported that action. In fact, what he said is we should send the samples to the lead suspect in that murder case for them to tell us whether or not they did it. Now, this is very serious, and it is serious because it sends a green light to every gangster that if this motion of no confidence goes through and the leader of the opposition is the Prime Minister of our country, they have a free pass. Putin and Assad will have a free pass. Also, it suggests to the Western alliance to which we are committed, we are members of NATO, and we believe that an attack on one is an attack on all. And we are committed to defending our allies. So what happens if we have a Prime Minister who is not committed to NATO? The entire Western alliance and what it is based on is completely undermined. So, Mr. Speaker, I will vote with the government today. And I will vote with the government today on the principle that there are certain things that no Prime Minister should ever do, and we cannot trust the Leader of the Opposition not to do that. And that is why we should all vote to support this government.